angry, like I'm really, really angry. Our irresponsible waste management attitude is not only a burden to the government, assemblies, or formal waste management companies, but a burden to ourselves. Currently in Africa, we have not only become an exploitation ground for natural resources, but a dumping ground for waste. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, we get influx of second-hand goods into our system, and most of them end up in our landfill. Like, yes, landfill. How many of us know that when we throw things away, they do not go away, but they go to our weights? Gone are those days where when we dispose of some things, they just go down into the system like, yeah, they decompose. But now, everything is made of fossil fuel, made of plastic. Plastic, plastic, plastic. Everywhere you go, why are they MTN? Just come to think of it. Now our system is filled with waste. What are we doing about it? Currently, I was walking along the Gimpa Highway and I found some heaps of waste that I just couldn't take my eyes off. Come to think of it, who kept those waste there? What are they doing there? And how did they end up getting burnt down into ashes? Don't get it twisted. The ashes form is even more toxic than when the waste is even left there on its natural state. Because who knows, the chemical decompositions and the composition. What are we doing about this? What are we doing about the waste in our system? How many of us sees those waste along those areas and do something about it? I was walking along Ashalibotwe Road, just within the gutter. Just imagine the heaps of waste you can see there. Who is to do something about this? How many of you, when you see this waste, you actually think about it? Raise up your hands, raise up your hand, raise up your hands. Let me see you. Or is it a shaman? Just recently, I was walking along the area and I found heaps and heaps of waste. Not to even mention, it was a highway. Like, just look at this highway. The heaps of waste scattered around. Everybody's walking, everybody's going back and forth. And just look at the far end of this particular area. You can see the burning of the waste taking place. Not only has it become an eyesore, an aesthetic nuisance, it is now choking. And this will cause a lot of respiratory diseases, a lot of things you can't tell. This is not only happening in Ghana, but a lot of countries in Africa, and yes, and beyond, I can say. When I traveled to Mali, you wouldn't believe it. What is waste? Waste heaped in frontage of individuals, their houses. Just look at that. Like, can you see what I'm seeing? People are living there. People are eating there. People are doing whatever they want to do there. They are unconcerned. What are we doing about the waste in our system? One thing that amazed me most was the fact that there were a lot of flies just everywhere and no one cared. And all I could do was just tap in myself left and right. Even in the airport, flies in the airport. Can you imagine with AC, flies? Like, duh. Yes, waste is happening. But yes, there are still solutions. Yes, we have a lot of littering, we have a lot of waste pollution, we have a lot of waste management issues, but we have organizations, individuals, and institutions who are doing something about the waste problem we have. Come think of it. An example is Green Africa Youth Organization, who utilizes waste and convert them to resources, but prioritizes education and reduction of waste pollution. They convert items such as sachet rubbers to handbags, clothing, aprons, etc. You have organic waste from the community being converted to fertilizers, which farmers use to produce organic crops, and other forms of conversion that they do. But for this episode, don't forget you're watching B.ISA BISA. We have a very interesting person on the topic, passion driving change. This individual utilizes waste in the system and convert them to fashionable items. Yumo is a sustainable fashionist. Oh my God, these clothing are beautiful. Who utilizes waste and she converts them to reusable items. And she uses waste such as paper, polythene bags, nylon bags, etc. Oh my God, just look at these items. They are so beautiful. This lady dressed fashionably in sachet rubbers. How many of you will see these clothing and buy? Some of them cards, some of them newspapers, polythene bags. But she said one thing that touched me. She's utilizing these items from her community because she knows that Nobody actually patronizes them, and they are just waste. And she's converting them to reusable items, and she's winning awards, like awards from them.
My name is Yumu Perpetual Williams, and I would say I'm a mixed breed. I am Ghanaian Togolese Liberian. I'm a fashion designer and an innovation strategist. So I live in Esalibuche in Ghana. I will talk about a role model who has been my father. He brought us up in a way that he would always tell you that you shouldn't think about your current state. Think about yourself in years to come. Where do you want to go to? Where do you want to be? And work towards it. So he always told us we shouldn't ever think in the box or within the box, but rather think out of the box. Okay, so I'm a fashion designer, a creative director of Yumu Gandu. What we do is we do normal garment, but we also into sustainable fashion, where we have introduced rubber, old newspapers, metals into our garments. This is in relation to the sustainable development goal. So typically what inspired why I would use polythene or rubber and all that for my garments is the thought that I'm into avant-garde making, I'm into evening wears, like luxury fashion, and the reason why I would use rubber in making these garments is because we use fabric. Yes, we use it for maybe a red carpet event. Maybe you're just going to wear it for once, like, yeah. Why wouldn't I rather use something which will make my garments cheaper at the first point, and then something that after I'm done I could probably recycle it into something else. You get it? And so I'd rather introduce rubber, use a little bit of fabric, maybe waste fabric, and then I blend it with the plastic or the newspaper and then all that to make prices for these garments cheaper, as they're going to be worn for just once, and for it to also be recycled. I'm also thinking it's a way of we getting our environment clean. Really, if we are preaching sanitation, we should look at the end bit and not the current state. So the current state will be we gathering the rubbish, we gathering this rubbish and then all that. But in the end, then what? You get it? But then when we recycle it into things like this, then we know that, okay, I have collected it, I have recycled it into something. So I'm not just taking the waste out of the system, but I'm reproducing it into something else, which will be beneficial to the lot. Change doesn't start from someone, it always starts from us. If you want to see some type of change, okay, and you're not seeing it because you feel other people are not doing it, let it start from you. Think out of the box. See how you can help your neighborhood. See how you can help your environment. See the productivity you get out of these things, and then put everything you have into it. And then trust me, you will get other people to tag along.
It's Visa. Visa with Betsy.
You most said it all. Like, how can you as an individual create an everlasting change in your community? It starts from you as an individual, nobody else. Come on. This is Be with Adults and ISA, be inspired with stories from Africa, where passion, values, and environment comes to life. Next on an episode, we'll be hearing from, you don't want to know who we'll be hearing from, Jabril Ibrahim, as he tells us how in Africa, youth, we don't always have a say. How can we have a say in Africa? He's going to share a story on how, as a youth in his community, he's driving change wherever he is. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.
It's Visa. Africa.
Gone are those days where when we
Today
dispose
is
of
here. Achievements
some
be
things,
accomplished. Nothing to fear. You're twice as tall, and it's not too late to take up your rightful position. In the world of years, Africa, get up and hit the wall.